Welcome to the Center of Light Radio with spiritual teacher, intuitive, musician, composer, and best-selling author of The Divine Principle, Anchoring Heaven on Earth, your host, Keith Anthony Blanchard.
Got up at 9 this morning, and I got busy. I started putting this show together. It took me, no kidding, I did this till about 4 o'clock, from 9 to 4 o'clock, putting this all together. Point is, it should be really good, really powerful. I think it's powerful, and I'm the guy who's doing it. That's not a bragging point. It's just saying I'm confident in what I laid out as far as information and slideshow. And that slideshow is going to bring it home. It's going to create another part of the experience. It's going to be multimedia. You're going to hear it. You're going to see me doing my silly, goofy stuff. But the slides I've picked out were hand-selected, because I want to have the greatest visual impact to support and to back up the information that I'm going to be bringing through this live feed tonight, which is called Spiritual Awakening, Rise and Shine. No pun intended. Part 2. I did another one a couple days ago. It's in archive on my Facebook videos. Check it out. It's part of the dialogue from the Divine Principle that I've read about who we are as far as our ancestry, our lineage as divine beings kind of thing. This is more about the mechanics, and this is where you're going to begin to learn about what to put into motion to see the absolute biggest result as soon as possible. And the truth doesn't require anyone's permission to exist. I say this all the time. Very simple, but it's a very, very profound point that I promise you, if you put into motion what's being offered here tonight, things are going to happen to you in such a way you will not be able to contain the joy that's going to spew out of you. I promise you. So I invite you, don't have to believe what I say. You don't. Just take it in, put it in the file. Time comes, pull it out, apply it, see what happens. This path of spirituality, spiritual awakening versus a religious one, which is beautiful in and of itself, just different. Religion mostly sees God as here. Spirituality sees God as here. Right there, in the magic spot, in the stargate, in the floodgate. This path is nothing like most people would think it to be. It's more radical. It's outrageous. It's huge. Small, simple, it's powerful, it's very delicate, and more beautiful than most people would ever entertain. It's all that. And you will understand that by the time we come to the end of this broadcast. That is a fact. Take it in, take it in, take it in. Take in what I will be imparting to you. Okay? I'm handing you something very, very powerful and magnanimous. Another thing I want to say off the top is spirituality is not necessarily about Jesus. Can be, but it's not about Jesus per se. Jesus done his work. Now it's up to us to do ours. Jesus said, do not say lo here nor lo there. For the kingdom of God is within you. You. I am in my Father, Jesus says. I am in my Father is in me, and I am in you. So you have a circle within a circle within a circle, and all that is in you, right there. So everything we need for liberation, wow, is right there. Keith, I'm free already. I live in America. I'm talking about liberation from all confines of your being, inside and out, top to bottom, bones to bones. Right? God is omnipresent. It's in scripture. Look up the definition omnipresent in the dictionary. Present in all places at all times. There's no place it is not, except fear. God does not reside in fear. So if I was to ask you to point to yourself, you point here, right? Go ahead and do it. Point to yourself. It's common knowledge. It's habit. We point here. I've only seen one person point here, ever. we ask a person to point to God, you point here. Same place. Some people might point up, insinuating heaven. That's not the truth of it. God is omnipresent. Jesus was the Sacred Heart. That's the gate. All that being said, what spirituality or spiritual awakening really, really, really is about, I can give it to you in a sentence. If God is love, and that's what we aspire to, if God is love, then it is about everyone developing themselves to the level of love within that is God. Right? Not rocket science. So the path is about developing the love within you, using your free will to do so, and filling yourself so much with it. And the more you do it, the more you begin to tap into the spigot, the source, God, the creator. It opens up the channel, it opens up the vessel. And when you can purify yourself and become the embodiment of love in its totality, there is no separation between me and the source that creates worlds and universes in me. There is no difference. They're the same reservoir. Well, people may say, well, Keith, we are sinners. You make mistakes, but sinner is too heavy of a connotation. It implies that kind of thing, right? That's not the way of it. It creates guilt, useless, needless, painstaking, karmic guilt. It's not the way of it. We water the weed, we can water the plant. Whatever we give our attention to is the one that's going to grow. So we need to develop the love within ourselves to the level that is God. That's how we do it. That's how we connect. That's how we go back to where we came from, but in a body. I always say, get out of the fight. Devil and angel griping at you in your ears, telling you what you should do. There's no such thing as right or wrong, good, bad, light, dark. That's all duality. We're not seeking duality, are we? We want a duality. We wouldn't have to do a damn thing. We're already here. We want wholeness. 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 Whole. Holy. That's what we want. Because everything is unified in the heart. Jesus transcended duality. And as Christians, you follow, if you want to be the duck, you got to walk and quack like the duck. So that's the gate. To transcend duality, he showed you even on the cross. Heaven comes down, and here's the earth plane. And as he was crucified, he made himself vulnerable and showed you exactly where it's located. Right there. Right where the two planes intersect. Seek ye the kingdom of God within. Get out of the fight. Stop fighting with the world. Turn off the TV. Turn off CNN. Turn off NBC, whatever that thing's called. Turn off the news. They're filling you through propaganda, meaningless shit. It's just shit. Don't believe the left. Don't believe the right. Don't believe any of it. Unless you absolutely 100% sure about the news source and what their agenda is, or the lack of an agenda better. Get out of the drama and the addiction to being in misery. Run away. Get out of being addicted to drama and misery. In any form, to any degree, to any level. Get out of it. Right? Stop telling long-winded stories. Long-winded, incessant stories. Talking. Yes, I understand it's Friday. You've been in a cubicle all week and it's your weekend and you want to go play and you're going to hang out with some friends you ain't seen all week. I'm not talking about the sharing that happens between two people who love each other that has content. I'm talking about rattling the cage just for the sake of jawing. And even so, even when you're speaking to people that you want to have dialogue with, shorten the story. They don't want to know every detail that you bought some corn and then you turned down the aisle at the grocery store and you bought some rice and you bought some tissue paper. You could just say, I went to the store. It helps you to free the mind to become clear so we no longer monkey-minded. Please consider that. Long-winded talking is so detrimental to one's karma, energy, and life. Y'all better hold on tight, y'all. I got a big show coming for you. And if you're here for the duration, you're going to expand. Here's some questions I ask you to ponder. And ponder them after I put them to you. From whence did you come? Did you have an identity before you were born? Why were you born? What is this energy that was given a name at birth? Who are you now? And where are you going? Right? It starts to put things in a greater perspective, but yet more simplified. Because if you came from God, and the question I pose is, what is this energy that was given a name at birth? You came from God. God basically just broke a piece off himself and put it in the body. So if you came from God, when you were impregnated, your body was impregnated with the energy, that's what existed inside of it. It was God energy. But along the way, through indoctrination, culture, peers, authority, teachers, religion, government, the media, all starts bombarding the system. And we lose memory. We have God amnesia. That's the very essence of what we are, because he took me from him and put it into this body on this plane through the act of pro as in positive, as in good creation. So, if God put the energy of it, which is you, into the body, and I asked you, what is this energy that was given a name at birth? Who are you now? Reflect on your life. Where does it you want to go? The Alpha and the Omega. If we came from God, God is the beginning. We go back to God when we die, that's the end. It's a circle of divinity, and it's for us to wake up and recognize that. And until then, that wheel will keep on turning, and we'll keep staying on it like a hamster. And God cares. He loves you, but he doesn't care in the sense that nothing will ever threaten my existence, and I love you so unconditionally. You can play down there and do all this stuff all you want between now and eternity. And when you're ready, come on back. I'll kick you in the pants. You'll be back here in a split. That's how it works. As I said before, I'm really, really big on definitions. Webster's definitions. If the dictionary is our resource for language, it's words, it's a book of words that was put together to convey thought and ideas and concepts and consciousness. So we can all agree that the word in the dictionary, whatever the definition of the meaning is, that's the idea. It's a concept. Union, the definition of union, an alliance for mutual benefit, the bringing together of two entities into a whole. You, God, union. Jesus, God, union. Buddha, God, union. Paramahansa Yogananda, God, union. That's the gig. There is no other gig. We have to become it. It's not about being saved or having been given grace because you are good little John Doe. I mean, God would squash this entire project and start all over. Believe it. And this comes from the divine principle. On our spiritual excursion, this is God speaking, we shall cover the basic principles that are imperative for your growth. We will first form a solid foundation of understanding so that we can then move on firm footing to achieve the peace that you seek. Once you know yourself as a chip off of my old block, you will then see how you have always had the power to create the best reality for yourself. Thought energy is the primal force that gives birth to life in all its forms. Just because you are not aware of your thought after they leave your head, it does not mean that your thoughts die. Everything you think. The moment you entertain any thought, the universe begins to work toward its manifestation. Everything is one because everything is affected because all is one, the same body, the same being. For you to understand this more fully, that everything is of one energy, we must start with the soul and work our way outward. Know that in every human being, there are more bodies than just the physical one. And there is much more taking place than meets the eye. The spirit self or body. The spirit is the aspect that descends into a body to partake of the human experience. It creates and governs all that is you. The spirit works in conjunction with your own awareness to bring about what is beneficial for you and your own evolution, so that you may one day embody the divine principle, the mental self or body. This aspect provides you with the ability to reason. What I mean by reason is having the capability to consciously recognize what is right for you in any situation. It's the part of you that creates by thought and choice. The emotional self or body. This aspect is denser than the spiritual and mental bodies and is responsible for physical expression. It influences all the actions and reactions triggered by your pleasure, pain, memories. Its enormous power brings what you are choosing into the certainty of being. The physical self or body, this is what most people think they are, the body. But really, your physical body is just the vehicle for the other bodies. Your physical body is just the vehicle for the other bodies. It lets you move freely in the world while you work to align your personality with your soul. It is your individuality. Your physical self allows you to come together with others to share life experiences. All these aspects make up the human entity. There are more, but these are the four basic primary aspects. Even though they are different from one another, they have one thing in common. They are all made up of energy. It is through such synergy that the physical, emotional, and mental bodies connect to the all-pervading spirit. God is omnipresent, present in all places at all times. It's in my shirt. It's in my nose, it's in this chain, it's in the chair you're sitting on, it's in the vibrations you're listening to from my voice, it's at the screen that you're looking at, it's everything. There's nothing it is not. Because if you remove God from the equation of any aspect of the equation, it disappears. It cannot exist because the source is where everything is generated from. You cut that tie, it goes into non-existent. Now we're starting to see how integral and that we become conscious of where we connect with spirit. The first fear we have, the primary fear we have, is the first fear that blocks the soul's light from coming through. And then each fear in succession, so forth and so on. So the light gets dimmer and dimmer, dimmer and dimmer until we start doing the work. I'm no longer afraid of this. We cleared some fog, and then you become endowed. Then you become expanded. You become more intuitive. Become psychic. God is all-knowing. Makes sense to me. The closer you get to God, the more you know. Right? If God is everywhere, it makes sense to me. The closer we get to God and do the work, the more we see that we're not disconnected from anything. If God is omnipotent, all-powerful, makes sense to me that when we do the work and we get clear, that now we have responsibility because we know who we really are and we're obligated to that duty and to that mission, the more power we get. That's it. All right, y'all, we're going to get to some slides. Meditation is integral for spiritual awakening. It is the basis for making contact with the cosmic life stream. God, meditation. Incorporate in your life will change. Check this out. This is about perspective. Go ahead and take in the picture for a moment. Very, very powerful image. Powerful. Perspective. This came to me last night. What do you see in your life situations? Are you sure you are seeing correctly, or at least seeing the situation in its highest form? Puts us in check real quick, doesn't it? Right? Some years ago, I just got out of a band rehearsal and I left and I went to my truck because I was going to leave. And on my way to my truck, there was a yard and there was a big fence. And I see a sign across the yard, big red letters that said, "Beware of dog." And at that time in my life, I had a pretty intense fear of dogs. A dog that I couldn't trust. So if the sign says beware of dog, I already don't trust it because they're saying, "Hey, Mr. Keith Blanchard, we got a mean dog and we're trying to warn you," right? So I'm looking at this sign that says beware of dog. And I go into fear mode. Where's the dog? Where's the dog? Where's the dog? And then I took a breath to recenter myself. And I heard God talk to me clear as day. Check this out. The sign says, "Beware of dog." God said, "Turn the sign around, Keith." So beware of dog would be backwards. Be aware, I'm God. Because beware means caution, caution, look out, possible trouble. Be aware is the opposite of that. It means be aware and see. And dog, D-O-G, backwards is God, G-O-D. Blew me away. It's perspective. That would be cosmic perspective that I was blessed to fall into alignment with. Beware of dog, turn it around, it's be aware, I'm God. And I had a perspective shift. I had a hyper awareness shift. And a lot of that integrated into me in that moment. And now I brought it forth towards my life and use it to this day. And other events as well. When you do these kinds of spiritual work and exercises, I'm telling you, the door to heaven opens up and will begin to rain bliss all over your parade. Spirit speaking, your ability to differentiate between two scenarios is what makes one more real than the other. The one that you decide is a closer representation of me is the higher reality. The other is more likely to be the illusion or the lower reality. But keep in mind, this is only relative because the decision between higher and lower can vary from person to person. And even though you deem something to be either real or illusory, do not lose sight of the real truth that God is the dreamer behind both. Remember this, and the you that sleeps with your eyes open will awaken to truly see my reality. As I said before, my reality is for those who really want it. Yes, the road is a long one, and it will take time. But that road will eventually lead you to eternity. And when you get there, all your struggles will be forgotten. Dig it. Another aspect of spirituality and spiritual awakening that is integral. Right there. Take it in. Look at it. What does it mean to you? Think of all the words that are associated with it. Try to connect to it. Try to have a dialogue with it. See what part of you is that. Why does it make sense to you? Because everything you're taking in comes from the outside. Where does the experience happen? Within you. Where are you hearing my voice? Within you. Where do you take in anything from the world? Within you. It's all within you. So take that in for a moment. Very important. Get familiar with it. It's who you are. That's the peace God impregnated the infant with that we talked about earlier, right? Now, this is what happens when we come from being cluttered with indoctrination, rules, rights, wrongs. That's what begins to happen. We begin to lose sight of the truth because it was beaten out of us. Other things were instilled inside of us. This is how it is. This is what God is. God is a man. God is not a man. Man could become conscious and connect in unity conscious with God, but God is not a man. That's limiting the infinite to a flesh and bone body person. No, 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 no. It's all the indoctrination, the religion, peers, authority, school, this, that, the other. Right? So once we get out of that, we begin to have vision. A blind man once said, you don't have to have sight to climb Mount Everest. It takes vision. You don't have to have sight to climb Mount Everest. Instead, you need vision. Right? So when we get all that muddledness from around the mind, there is a beneficial purpose for the mind. It's to be used as a tool instead of it using you and making you a slave. Right? That's what God said when I read you the 4 aspects of the human being. The ability to reason. Didn't say rhyme. It said reason. So vision will begin to happen. And vision is not this right here. It's inside. It's vision. Premonitions. Vision. True vision. There are no obstacles. Awareness, 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 awareness. I can sit here and say that word for another 30 minutes. Awareness. It's the deal, man. Awareness. I'm looking at the camera. I'm very aware of a microphone stand over here. I see a microphone right here. I'm aware of the water bottle here. I'm aware of the Sai Baba picture behind me. I'm aware. Try it. Instead of just being awareness in your head, most people think that this is where your awareness is. Seems obvious. It's not. Shift your awareness. Just simply at will, shift your awareness to your heart. In other words, think from that place. Be in that place. You did it. I know you did it. You know that I know you did it. That's what it is. It's awareness. It's about being open all the time. And when you start working that awareness muscle begins to grow. And begins to grow. Begins to grow. Begins to grow. It's an aspect of the human being. And if you work out with a physical muscle and you work your awareness muscle, they stretch. They expand. And like I said, the closer a person gets to God, who is all-knowing, the more you know, because you expand it, you open. Awareness, awareness, awareness. When I was writing the Divine Principle, sometimes I would not get an answer to a question I posed 2-3 weeks. Let's say you and I were going to have a bite of food in a restaurant, and there's some people a few booths back, and I'm not eavesdropping, mind you, but I'm peripherally aware. And that day, I hear someone say something, I go, oh my God, that's the answer to the question I posed 2 weeks ago. You might say, well, how do you know that, Keith? Because the way it made me feel. It's the one that said, this is the answer, write it down, Keith. There was a feeling, there was a presence, there was a knowing, there was an awareness, a presence. Letting go, very, very integral, important to spiritual development. Letting go. Letting go. Let me show you a couple slides real quick. Awareness. When we let go, the light becomes visible. It becomes available. If our hands are full, Spirit can't put anything in it. And it's not Spirit the one doing it. We can't put anything in it because we're the one giving Spirit and yet becoming open ourselves for something to be in it. Same with Jesus. When people say Jesus is the Savior, I'm not trying to debunk your belief system, but what I am doing is offering another model. So instead of saying that Jesus is the one that saves me, and two, a person makes the choice for said life to be saved, Jesus doesn't do anything. It's the person making the decision to be supported by the divine for unity. That's the way it works. So letting go, making yourself available. Letting go, we talk about let the drama of life and the past go. Again, this is perspective now. Check it out. Are you sure what you're seeing is correct? Are you sure you are seeing what has happened in your past correctly? And also the events that are happening to you in your life now correctly? It's just a very simple question. When something happens, say, am I seeing this in its highest order? That changes everything. It's perspective. 6996. Beware of dog. Be aware. I'm God. It's perspective. So let's talk a little bit about control and the releasing of it, which is sort of like letting go with a different texture, different flavor, different tone. Wanting to control your life, everything. It's like a wheel that spins this way in your chest. And the more you control, the faster it turns. When we begin to release control, the wheel will start to slow down. Finally, it stops. That's when things can start feeling a little funky because there's no motion happening. And you will feel like you're falling or like a rug's being pulled out from under you. Hang tight. Stay with it. That wheel will start doing this. It'll start turning backwards or the opposite direction, which puts you in the flow of the life stream. You're on a raft, no longer using oars to paddle upstream, which is a fight. You put the oars down, the current will turn you, and down with the stream you go. You are in the life stream because you have now stopped fighting the current of the universal stream. And fighting the universal stream has to do with karma, bickering, misery, drama, too much talking, not seeing things correctly, all these things I named. That's the gig. It's the gig. Breathing, another major component to spiritual awakening. Did you know that if a situation happens to you, you can stop it from ever sticking with you for the rest of your life? Something bad just happened to you and it got you. And it hurts. I get it. I'm human. I understand. But instead of letting it fester and begin the integration process and become a part of who you are, because that'll just bring more karma in your life even though you don't know you're doing it. There's a way that you can eliminate it from ever sticking, and that's by doing this. Situation, right? Oh, wow. Perspective. So here I go. God breathed life into man. This is why you're in the energy of whatever dynamic has got you upset, angry, crushed, grief-stricken, whatever it is. Start breathing. If that stuff is the darkness and the density, and breath is God, God is light and life, you will dissipate that energy right then and there. It will stop. It will not put its hooks in you. Let me read you something from the divine principle. Close your eyes and spirit. Close your eyes and think of something that is really troubling you. Think of something that's troubling you. Take notice of any of those negative thoughts that come up. Release your troublesome thought to the universe and listen carefully. Do you hear it? And I said, hear what? The soft voice of the soul whispering its wisdom into your heart. And I say, I've been able to do this before when I've meditated on some issues, but I can't seem to consciously make the connection on this one. Keith, then you must go even deeper to discover where your demons dwell. When you find it, it will probably look like a scared child cowering in a corner. But do not be fooled by its appearance and do not attempt to offer it pity, because it can and will take advantage of you. If you must, use an intense visualization to yank your demon or demons out of your subconscious. Then offer it up to the light of consciousness and watch it melt like the vampires in all the movies you have seen. When you begin to see through all of your illusions, the beauty that has always been there, God basically, will humble you. The circle of life will then curve back within you, and suddenly, God will be present for you at a conscious level. Bang! I've had this happen many times. And the utmost profound peace and bliss fill your being. What about future lessons? What about future lessons? When something happens that you know could potentially be with you for a long time, I suggest that you heed and heal it at the very moment it transpires. Please share with me how. When an issue is new, it is still potential energy. It has not yet become static, but if you let it fester, it will put down deep roots in you in an effort to mire you in its illusion. The longer it stays frozen, the tougher the thaw will be. I know that I've been telling you that everything is God, so you must be wondering, how is it that terrible things can be God? Perspective. What you perceive as terrible is not the reality of God, but the illusion created by you. What I am saying is that the mind can never open up enough to take God in. So you must open your heart in order to move out of any illusion and into my reality. But how will I know when I'm there? You will know you are heart-centered when you begin to see the world made up of hues that you could not have seen before. Everything will appear different to you, as if illumined. You will know you have become heart-centered when you notice that joy is residing within you full time. Something else very, very important to spiritual development. Very, very important. It's another multifaceted piece of the divine pie. It's a multifaceted part of yourself that's all integral to spiritual awakening. Absolute, complete acceptance of all people, all situations, getting out of the fight. Let things be as they are. Be a ghost in the world. Interact with the world only when you really need to or want to. Other than that, spend your day being a ghost. Accept everything the way it is. Perspective. Here's a powerful, powerful picture. Boom. Freedom. Once we begin to move through the fear, we have to realize fear does not protect us. We think being afraid when something harmful happens or threatening happens, that fear is a mechanism to protect us. It's an illusion. It throws you right into the trap. It's a big juicy carrot that's dangling in front of your face. And when you grab it, when you bite that carrot, it'll bite back twice as hard and it'll bite back a lot harder and a lot bigger and a lot faster. You bring fear into a scenario, into a room with a dog, it ain't the dog. Person next to you is going, come here, boy. The dog's tail's wagging and everything. He doesn't trust you. Fear throws us directly into the trap. If we can catch ourselves being afraid, in fact, we have more clarity and more response ability to choose from when we're not afraid because we're open. Okay, here's a scenario. I don't have to like it. Now here are my options, and I'm not monkey muddle-minded. So when we get out of fear, this begins to happen right there. And it begins to expand. Every being in the universe yearns for freedom. That's what we want. Keith, we live in America. We're free. You ain't free. You might be free to the level that you created for yourself, and I'm happy for you, and I support you, and I'm proud of that. But generally, that is not what freedom is. We're talking about free, here we go, definition of freedom. Freedom from slavery, captivity, or any other form of arbitrary control, departure from rules or procedures. Freedom. Freedom. Freedom and liberation. Yep, that's it. And you will find that when you are heart-centered. God lives here. Right? Intention. Intention, intention, intention. Everything is intention. You woke up this morning, you got out of the bed, got your coffee, brushed your teeth, grabbed something on the way out, walked all the way to your car, started the car, drove the car, got to work, performed your task, came back home, went to bed, repeated the cycle. I would say, I would bet, and you probably agree, 95% of what I just said you did without thinking about it. It's unconscious. It's habit. Doesn't mean that you're not intending. It's all intention. From the divine principle, intention. You have always had creative power. What has kept you from maximizing it is it has been your cluttered mind. Why not look at the creative process like this? You are a movie projector and God is the light inside. Your thoughts are the film itself. As you sit in the theater of life, what movie is playing on that 3D screen of yours? A horror flick? If so, you must change the film. The simple fact is that, conscious of it or not, you are the producer and director of your own movie, and any sad or unfinished scene in it will only become more difficult to wrap if you do not take responsibility for its content. Is your life playing out the way you want it to? If not, the only way to get it to go the way you truly desire is to do the work necessary and get clear about it. That is the crux of it. No more, no less. Neither good nor bad. Your life is the movie you make. Just one more piece to read, and I think we'll be wrapping up the reading segment. Keith, do you sometimes get confused because things do not seem to work out the way you've intended? Yeah, for a long time, my life has been filled with the frustration and confusion. Up till the last few years, I didn't know it all spawned from my intentions. Well, I'll tell you this. You have gotten and are getting exactly what you have intended. With whatever degree of clarity you have had, you have intended. Even if someone does not make a choice, still a choice is made. The choice to remain complacent. Thus do patterns of sameness evolve by unaware intentions. For those who accept and apply the wisdom of this simple truth, life will get easier and more fulfilling. For those who do not, trouble will remain. Either way, everyone will go on creating, and either way, you will all get what you want. Attention, another aspect of the spiritual awakening process. Attention. We can water the weed, or we can water the plant. Either one we give our attention to is the one that will grow. Intention is energy. Attention is focus. Passion one of my favorites of the attributes about becoming a spiritually awakened individual, more so as to why you are present and I'm doing this broadcast. I learn every time I do these things, and I love them. Passion is the fire. The fire in the belly. When I do something, there is no way that it will not come into fruition. I don't accept that as a possibility. I have the drive. It's a drive like a Ferrari, like a fast-moving, beautiful purring engine when you start it and you're sitting in that car and it's got all this power waiting for you to hit the accelerator and hit go. And when you can find that Ferrari, that internal Ferrari, and hammer on that pedal, trust me, passion is a very powerful thing. Very, very powerful thing. Sincerity would be the passive. Passion is the active, one side of the coin. Sincerity would be the passive. It's the soft place. You know, passion is get in there and do it and roll your sleeves up kind of thing, right? And sincerity means I'm serious. I mean it. I deserve it. Those kinds of energies, right? Very important. It's not all about brute force. No. Here's another one. A couple of more, and I think we'll be wrapping that up. We'll do a Q&A. Powerful. Check this out. Very, very important aspect of enlightenment or growth or expansion. Humility. Wow. Humility. Bowing down. Genuflecting. Jesus washed the feet of Thomas, the one he supposed knew was going to betray him. Why would he do that? Why would he not stop Peter, I believe it was, from cutting the soldier's ear off or cutting him to pieces? He said, shield that sword. You live by the sword, you will die by the sword. Why would Jesus wash the one who betrayed him's feet? Because it's humility. Humility is divine. Humility is God. Said the life of Mother Teresa. She spent her whole life being in service. Humility. Beautiful thing. Man, you will connect with people in deeper ways when you practice humility with them, and I'm sure you already know that. So I just wanted to reinforce that. Another is vulnerability. Jesus made himself vulnerable. Vulnerable. He opened himself up, split himself in half on two planes. A vertical plane and a horizontal plane. Heaven coming down and earth going across. And notice where the planes, heaven, plane, earth, plane, they intersect in his heart. So he exposed the truth through his humility, and we'll know it to be called the passion of the Christ, and his sincerity. Very, very powerful. That's where it is. It's the Stargate, man. It's inside. It's your love. Your love is your power. Your love is who you really are. Vulnerability. And last on the list is presence. Presence. And the more you exercise and put into motion everything I've discussed so far, you will start to feel the presence because it's unfamiliar. I don't remember this part of me. But as you expand, you will no longer feel the presence. You will be the one that is present. Because we're beginning to integrate now. We're beginning to amalgamate. We're beginning to unify with that which we already unified. We're not separated from it. Like I said, if we could be, we couldn't exist. It's the water from the spigot. It's the water from the tap. But we become conscious of it. Then you feel the presence. You go, oh, I feel something changing in my life. And next thing you know, you feel yourself expand. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. One more thing to read you, and then we're going to take a Q&A. This is the last excerpt, the last part of the divine principle. Very, very important, and I think it's going to seal the broadcast. I think it's going to put everything in this nice little package, pink bow, on your sincere wanting to expand shelf. How's that? Spirit says that this chapter was called Realizing God. This will be my final transmission in our book, but before I go, I shall leave you with a guide for you to follow so that you will be able to reach your destination. All who seek divinity must live a life free from wanting, for that is the source and cause of spiritual bondage. As long as one is constantly wanting, one will only fall farther away from the selflessness of grace and into the selfishness of ego. The ego mind is the cloth that veils consciousness. Your wants are its threads. But when you give up your constant wanting, the ego threads will fall away and the cloth will disappear, revealing your true nature, the pure, genuine self that is the soul. God realization will happen for you when you finally free yourself from the brain, the mind, the senses, the wanter. Once you break out of your finite little prison of individuality, you will become conscious, enlightened, one with the cosmic power. Thus, you will reach God. You are embodiments of the divine. You are repositories of never-ending bliss. Your hearts are shrines to the divine. The whole of nature is your playground, and all things in it are your playthings. Regard yourselves as free, as masters of the universe.